Good night. Next news. Trump's Homeland Security advisor is going viral for claiming the White House is actively looking into suspending habeas corpus. BuzzFeed. Reinterpreting the Constitution on a whim in an effort to grant authoritarian powers is unpatriotic and un-American. Below are your comments. A lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. In other words, if they courts don't do what we want them to do, we will suspend the habeas corpus. And for those who wonder what the habeas corpus means, habeas corpus is a fundamental legal right that guarantees people. This is dangerous thinking. I worked in state criminal district court for years. I've seen the need for the writ of habeas corpus. We had better hope that it doesn't get suspended over the immigrant issue. We already have ways to control immigration, but that writ applies to all of us, legally here or not. You don't want it suspended over this issue just because Trump thinks it a good idea. Again, they look into things outside the authority of the executive branch. What they are likely doing is determining how many members of Congress will support his latest ROC of the Constitution. And by saying, a lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing. Stephen Miller was ACT2 ally saying, we'll see if they agree. 00. If not, we'll appeal until we get a favorable response. 00. I can't see how our judicial system would allow for the Trump administration to suspend habeas corpus, which is written into our Constitution. Because down the road, what's to stop them from continuing to apply it to any citizen who disagrees? Them, and yes, that also goes to. This is a very slippery slope. Today they claim it is to take control of the illegal immigrants currently in our country. Once suspended, at what point will it be used as a retaliation against those that crossed the administration? When will it be used to silence the critics? If there is no habeas corpus, people can be detained for exercising their First Amendment rights. Suddenly the First Amendment means nothing. Interesting thought. If you study rising dictators, you will see they often use this tactic to suppress dissent, silence opposition, and consolidate their power by eliminating legal safeguards. Trump demands massive deportations without even realizing due process is a thing. Sir, the courts won't allow us to ignore due process. Trump, find a way or I'll get someone else to do the job. Then Trump in an interview says, when asked if he will respect due process, says, I'm not sure, I have very talented lawyers and I will go by what they tell me. The only president to suspend habeas without congressional approval was Lincoln during the Civil War vis. The suspension clause. Article 1, Sec. 9, Clause 2. Due to the insurrection. He then went to Congress for a statute to uphold his emergency decision. The suspension clause is NEA. RLY universally held by court precedent and expert opinion to be Congress's primary prerogative as it appears in Article 1. If carried out by President Donald Trump, the suspension of habeas corpus would be a dramatic escalade of his administration's war on the Constitution. Donald J. Trump continues to try to legally nibble the edges around the right of all Americans to due process and habeas corpus. These are to respect individuals' rights before depriving them of life, liberty, or property. Habeas corpus allows judges who suspect these rights have been violated to take a second look at the violation. The Founding Fathers believed that our unalienable rights were so important that this second look was necessary. Their vision was wise, and was meant to protect us from the Donald J. Trumps in our future. There are at least 20 people in this administration who were involved with Project 2025. You can't tell me Trump knows nothing about it. We are losing our freedoms and right with this administration. Republicans must do something. We have passed a point of wondering if he will to who will stop him when he does. The literal apathy towards stopping this in its tracks is driving me bonkers. Authoritarianism should be recognized and rooted out the moment it starts to show itself. Stephen Miller is a front person for the Heritage Foundation and its Project 2025. With Trump's dementia slowly worsening, Miller may be one of the shadowy operatives making decisions in the White House. Heritage, along with some other far-right entities, is the real deep state. Most of them quietly subscribe to the 7 mountains of Christian dominionism. Trying to identify all these players is like peeling an onion and finding the different layers. A lot of it depends on whether the courts do the right thing or not. What he means is whether or not the courts follow the Constitution to DJT's liking or not. This is the same logic DJT used about Mike Pence doing the right thing back in 2020. So, for everyone who thinks he is doing a splendid job, better not hope that y'all get caught up in this web of betrayal. Cause once in, probably never get out karma really is a funny thing. But there is no attempt to make this country a police state, not at all. Keep convincing yourselves of that. The core issue here is that while it's true that only Congress can suspend habeas corpus, if Donald does it by executive order, we would have to see if Congress would overrule that executive order and reassert their enumerated constitutional rights, the only reason Donald is. Hopefully we are approaching a point at which even Republicans in Congress can no longer support what Donald is doing. We're already seeing some opposition from Republican senators. I just wonder how long Congress will let things go before they act. It is not up to Stephen Miller to decide if the courts decide it or not. He is a loose cannon that needs to be restricted or restrained. He is volatile and erratic and makes up stuff to get his way. Trump's classified documents indictment got dismissed through political influence, yet there is irrefutable proof, including photos, that he committed numerous felonies regarding those highly classified documents. He directly put national security at risk, including our military. He belongs in prison for what he did. The justice system failed the American people. By the way, I've held secret security clearance in 2 former jobs. I know how to properly handle such documents. Trump did not and did not care. Read the superseded version of the indictment and you will see for yourself. Cowards and those who wish to remain ignorant will not. Many of the original settlers came to escape this very thing. Kings could imprison and execute anyone who did not please them. Literally anyone, rich, poor, royal blood, innocent, it didn't matter. Study European history of the time if you don't believe it. Trump gets closer every day to the same behavior. He is systematically removing every safeguard the founders put in place to prevent someone like him from taking away rights that thousands of Americans have fought and died for. If you look into your own family history, you will find many of those true patriots. They were our fathers, grandfathers, sons, brothers, and uncles. They gave up their lives so we could have a life envied by much of the world. They were loyal to our country and freedom, not to a poor excuse for a human being. The slow march towards authoritarianism we saw in Trump 1 is now at a full-speed sprint in Trump 2. It means that anyone saying negative things about Trump and his ilk could be thrown in jail without due process. That is a problem for everyone. Formal definition. An authoritarian government is a political system where power is concentrated in the hands of a single leader or a small group, with limited citizen participation and suppression of political opposite. It's characterized by centralized power, often maintained through political repression and the exclusion Scion of potential challengers. Centralized power. Authority is not shared, and the government controls most aspects of life. Limited political parties. C. Patient. Citizens have little. This comes as no surprise to those of us whose eyes and ears are open. We have been trying to tell the nation that this orange stain is a dictator in training and wishes to establish an authoritarian right-wing dystopia where he is unchecked. The outright gall of this man. 6 months ago I could never have imagined that my country would be in this position. To have to argue basic constitutional fundamentals with a sitting president and his minions. The fact that Congress and the Senate are not on this daily is appalling. Republicans cannot be this sniveling. You were elected to follow the law. Stop Trump and this crime. The Constitution is next in the suspension line. He's blathering, it won't happen. Why? Consider the facts. 2024, 271,000 deportations and 600,000 on the docket. 2024 habeas filings on immigration cases equals 448. Equals 0.05%. The point is, it's not necessary. Each year the vast majority of deportations are done under the expedited removal statutes that rarely. Why allow for a habeas filing? Didn't Trump campaign on eliminating government overreach? Seems like suspending habeas corpus is allowing the government to sidestep the judiciary system completely. Trump is steadily chipping away at our constitutional rights while at the same time making money on over fist by manipulating the stock market, accepting billion-dollar gifts from foreign nationals, cutting federal workers and vital programs, and leaving most Americans too. Meanwhile, MAGAs support his every move, continue to send him money and stand in line to buy his acres, Bibles, and superhero cards. And crickets in the halls of Congress. Whoever would have thought that this is how this used to be great country would wind up? The laws pertaining to the issue of habeas corpus is set forth in Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution. Article 1 is the portion of the document pertaining to the legislative branch of our government only. It pertains to Congress. The jurisdiction of Congress over issues and rules and regulations pertaining to Congress. It does not pertain to the executive or judicial branches of the federal government at all. Neither Mr. Miller nor Mr. Trump has jurisdiction over this issue, no matter how many times they look into the issue. It is completely out of their hands. Please subscribe to my channel. And if you like it, please thumbs up.